The way this lady lies, she lies like a rug constantly.
To visit the border.
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't.
See how flippant she is? Ooh, that burns me up.
Understand the point that you're making.
According to a letter that the acting director of ICE just sent to Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez, on ICE's non-detained docket, they're currently tracking 425,000 non-citizens who have been convicted of a crime.
And as vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do.
Not a single thing.
And so I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to domestic policy.
It's the president's vanity project.
His multi-billion-dollar vanity project called a wall is nothing more than a distraction from the fact that he actually hasn't focused on working people in America. He contrived a national crisis around his big distraction.
A few years later.
Stay off the concrete, back over here. Off the concrete, back.
Oh no, she's not standing at his national crisis contrived.
Over here, please. Stay off the concrete over there, back over here.
Getting photo ops with Trump's wall in her background.
No love for me or Republicans for Kamala Harris today. In fact, I think the Trump campaign line today ought to be arsonist returns to scene of crime. I mean, look at the last 3.5 years. We've got the border has effectively been open, people flowing across. ICE today released information that there are 13,000 non-citizens convicted of homicide and almost 16,000 non-citizens convicted of some kind of sexual crime who are in the country right now. Only because we're in the shadow of an election is Kamala Harris trying to rush and pay some lip service to this issue as a tactical matter. Anderson, I don't think Harris should be trying to elevate this issue because this is the best ground from which Donald Trump has to fight. So, no, I think the Harris campaign is making a tactical mistake, and I think they have very little to say that the American people are going to buy on.
Border and the port of entry in Douglas. I spoke with dedicated agents.
For the first time in almost 4 years.
From Border Patrol and Customs officers who every day see the overflow of commercial traffic through the port.
And why are they seeing all that traffic, Kamala? Why?
These men and women who work there and at other places along our southern border help keep our nation secure. And they need more resources to do their jobs.
No, duh.
Which is why we have and are in the process of investing $500 million to modernize and expand the port of entry here in Douglas.
Oh, now you want to throw a bunch of money at it, which is not necessary. Who is clapping at her talking like she has been removed from this situation all along? This was her job. And now, at the 11th hour, here you come?
And why last December I helped raise the rate of overtime pay for border agents.
Now there she go, talking about overtime pay. Who else do you know who's talked about overtime pay lately?
And also why I strongly supported the comprehensive border security bill. Written last year, as you know, by a bipartisan group of senators, including one of the most conservative members of the United States Congress.
With a whole bunch of janky stuff attached to it, no doubt. That's why it didn't get passed.
That bill would have hired 1,500 more border agents.
There would be no need for a bunch more border agents had the problem of the influx not been created in the first dang place.
And officers. It would have paid for 100 inspection machines to detect fentanyl that is killing tens of thousands of Americans every year.
Girl, now you're going to act like you concerned about fentanyl killing Americans? Please.
It would have allowed us to more quickly and effectively remove those who come here illegally, and it would have increased the number of immigration judges and asylum officers. It was the strongest border security bill we have seen in decades.
I sincerely doubt that.
It was endorsed by the Border Patrol Union, and it should be in effect today, producing results in real time right now for our country.
A crock-a-bologna, because you were the one talking about down, down with deportation, up, up with education.
But Donald Trump tanked it. He picked up the phone and called some friends in Congress and said, stop the bill.
Now, here you go, talking like he's got so much power and he ain't even the president. He's got more power than you. Girl, bye.
Because you see, he prefers to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And the American people deserve a president who cares more about border security than playing political games and their personal political future.
What? Ain't that the pot calling the kettle?
Yeah, and Sandra, bear with me. We just got these numbers moments ago, but it's a jaw dropper to say the least. So to set the stage here, let me just explain what these numbers mean. ICE has something called a non-detained docket. Essentially what that is it means migrants who were encountered by DHS but are no longer in federal custody. So who's on this non-detained docket? It's illegal immigrants who were caught and released at the border, released with the court date years away. They're in immigration proceedings, combined with illegal immigrants who have already been ordered deported from the country by a judge, but are still here roaming the country. So keep that in mind, this non-detained docket. According to a letter that the acting director of ICE just sent to Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez, on ICE's non-detained docket, they're currently tracking 425,000 non-citizens who have been convicted of a crime. Of that number, over 13,000 non-citizens have convictions for homicide and are on the non-detained docket, meaning they're roaming the country right now. On top of that, there are another 15,811 non-citizens convicted of sexual assault who are roaming the country right now on ICE's non-detained docket. It doesn't stop there. Those are convictions. The ICE director also says there are currently just under 1,900 non-citizens on the non-detained docket who have pending homicide charges.
Yet Kamala and Joy Reid faking like these immigrants are less likely to commit crimes than American citizens
who are roaming the country, and another 4,250 non-citizens who have pending sexual assault charges who are roaming the country on the non-detained docket. So people's eyes might be glazing over right now with all the numbers we just threw at you. Just to put it in a nutshell right here, what we've learned from the acting ICE director via this letter to Congressman Tony Gonzalez is right now there are over 13,000 illegal aliens convicted of homicide who are roaming the United States right now. There are another 15,811 illegal aliens roaming the country right now who have been convicted of sexual assault, and there are even more who are facing charges for homicide and charges for sexual assault. So this just goes to show, guys, the non-detained docket has exploded under the Biden administration to over, I believe it's 7.3 million. They're anticipating it could hit 8 million by the end of the year.
Yet Kamala wants us to believe that she gives a darn about border security.